Welcome to Sunday Summary on Queer Public Radio. Sunday Summary is live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. That's minus 8 GMT for most of our worldwide listeners. The shows are recorded for podcasting at a later time. During this show, we will summarize the news reported on our most recent Hump Day Coffee Show and Gay Talk Live Talk Show. Catch up on the news and speak your mind here on Queer Public Radio on the Sunday Summary Show every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. On with the show. Goodness gracious. Hey, everybody. Tom here. It is April 17th, Sunday, the Sunday Summary. But you know, it's really not a Sunday Summary this week. No, not quite. Because there wasn't a Wednesday Hump Day Coffee show this week. It was canceled. And our Sunday, this time slot on Saturday, was instead of Gay Talk Live, was a roundtable week. So there wasn't, basically, it's all fresh stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. It's all fresh news. It's not rehashed. It's not actually a summary this week. But, you know, that's the time slot is given the name. Just want to know that technically, you know, we're hearing fresh stuff. And of course, as it said in the intro there, you can call in, and it's always an open forum. You know, I kind of look at the news as being background stuff. You know, it's the news is there to kind of fill in case no one calls. You know, because that's what it's supposed to be about, community. So we welcome people to call in and participate and speak up about stuff and hear their side of things. And in fact, on the last Sunday Summary, if you remember correctly, we had Jay call in and talk with us. Yeah, from California, and that was a great conversation. And he shared so much with us. He really, really shared. Goodness, I know he talked for over an hour during that show, and it was awesome hearing so many stories about, you know, his personal life and what he's been through. And I think that to me, the station, the platform, just was shining bright at that moment. I think that's an awesome thing when that happens. Anyway, you're listening to queerpublicradio.com. We also go by the name gaytalkradio.org. But see, that's kind of like the name we originally started with when we went independent was gaytalkradio.org. Previous to that, we were on a different system as just Gay Talk Radio. And previous to that, it was just Gay Talk. So, we've kind of like grown through the times since November of 2008 when we first started doing the radio thing. So recently, I'm going through some issues right now with the licensing of the station. I was with the system that, I was really what I thought was pretty awesome until I got this letter, this email, telling me from Sound Exchange Incorporated. For those of you who don't know who that is, there's all these lawsuits regarding internet radio that's been ongoing for many years now, and of course, everyone's trying to protect everyone's interest and make sure that the artists get paid for the royalties and such. And that's where it gets into, there needs to be reporting evidently and such not, and with different agencies it's handled different ways, because each, there's ASCAP, and there's BMI, and goodness gracious, then there's Sound Exchange, who is by court ruling is in charge of internet broadcasting radio stations, of which we are. There's a difference between a podcaster, a person who makes podcasts that people can click on a website, and then there's when you have, which we also offer, podcasting, but as well as the live stream. So we have this live stream 24/7 that you can always hear something. and I got a schedule up there, and for the most part, it stays pretty close to the schedule. Sometimes things happen. Normally, when I go overtime on my live shows, and then I mess up the timing on things, is usually when things get messy. But such is life. Anyway, so there's some licensing issues going on right now because I got this letter from Sound Exchange, and basically what we're going to do from now on, as far as any music that is aired on our live stream, I've been given until May 6th. I've notified them that we won't be playing any copyright royalty / type music anymore, and I will assure that all the music we play on the live stream is yeah, anyway, you can see it's going to be, I got this nightmare, this editing nightmare facing me now. I have to listen to every single thing and see, let's see, I got music and I got to take that out and blah, blah, blah. So, got till May 6th to do that. So, I've had this wonderful, wonderful little surprise jumped into my lap. And I don't know, according to Sound Exchange, they're saying the company that I was using for my licensing that I've been paying for over a year, I think a year and a half or something, since I actually opened gaytalkradio.org. I'm not sure. Yeah, the money I've been paying every month for that licensing stuff obviously wasn't, according to Sound Exchange, it wasn't giving me everything that I was paying for. So, then Sound Exchange, after it stated in the email, after many months of attempting to correct the problem or whatever they're stating. And then from the other side, when I contact them, I get another, well, our lawyers are looking into it. And so in the meantime, I'm just, that's it. I'll just take all the copyrighted royalty type music out. And, cause it's mostly talk radio here. I mean, it's over 90% talk radio. There's really not that much music. So, anyway, it's all about the lawyers these days, and things ain't right. And, the only alternative I have is either to do what I'm doing or to pay outrageous amounts of money to get things done that I can't afford as a small webcaster. That's just not possible. And I think that's their bottom goal, is to, try to get them out, kind of thing, instead of the freedom of the internet and that's just given us the power and the ability to reach out and touch somebody, it's going to end up turning into something nasty. So anyway, as far as the music part goes, I don't think they're going to stop us from talking. At least we haven't gone there yet. Anyway, I just had to share that with everybody and wanted to let everybody know for that reason, that I'm going to have to be very careful about what music I select and play on the live stream. Like I say, they don't have any ruling over podcasting technically, but that's a whole nother issue. But they're getting a pretty strong hold on the streams on the internet radio stations, because that puts you in a separate classification, which is regulated. Anyway, such is life. It's the internet thing. They think it's too easy for people to. It's obvious because they had this one rule that if I was to play music and someone was making requests, that's actually against the law to play that request within an hour of the time that it's made. Got to wait an hour, and then you can play the request anytime after an hour. Because they don't want people like turning their recorders on just before they know the song they want is going to come up. Stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre, and like I say, it's still, they're fighting about it in the courts still. Anyway, we just do what we can do, right? That's all we can do. Hey, did you check out yesterday's roundtable? Oh man, yesterday's roundtable was pretty neat. We talked about gay / queer / terminology, and I just thought I'd throw that out there in case you didn't catch it, because it was pretty cool. Of course, Rob and Cisco from backinthegays.com were with us, and Janie from upstate New York was there. She's a transgender person who has just become just about family. I mean, she's starting to talk now. Janie's a sweetheart. We love Janie to death. Goodness gracious, she's a lot of fun. Let's see. I went through and I did some of the videos. I was looking at some of the videos, that we have over on the Queer Public Radio site. I mean, we got these. Goodness gracious, I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. videos that we got, like recommended videos. They're embedded videos. You can actually watch them on queerpublicradio.com. I was shocked. I think Eyes on the Prize is still there. I'm going to check it out. But anyway, in the next couple of days, I'll be doing a posting or something and have it, a summary of them or something. Pretty good deal there. I was like, oh man, all those golden oldie kind of things. Good stuff. And everybody it's the kind of videos that everybody should see all of these at least once. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Yeah, cool stuff. Let's see, what else do we have here? I haven't talked to our friends down in Guatemala yet, Paula and Claudia. I'm not sure what's going on with them. I kind of steered them over to a freebie service so they can really try it out, and see if they, want to get into, to see what's all behind this whole thing. It's, with the internet radio, they might be wanting to they want to do a Spanish internet radio thing, like 30 minutes once a week, and well, I'm just so glad and happy that our good friend Cisco from Rob and Cisco, or Cisco and Rob, or whichever wants to come first. You got to swap around who you say first once in a while when you got two people to refer to, because then everyone's going to think you're biased. If you don't, it's hard to remember to give them equal time, right? That's the way I look at it. Goodness, who did I say last time? Yeah, I know, it's stressful, very stressful doing that. Yeah, but they hadn't said anything. My comment for today, I'm just going to get right on in with it because, we're already 13 minutes in the show. But let me remind everybody, you're welcome to call in by telephone or by Skype. I just ran across a random fact this week that kind of puzzled me. It was like, all I can say is, did you know the United States is the only industrialized nation that still uses chimpanzees in invasive research? Yeah, something to think about. The only industrialized nation. Something to be proud of, huh? And then I just had these just some random thoughts that kind of came together this other day, and I wanted to just throw them out there. Another one of those things to. It's and I want to, because it's just my personal beliefs here, that a single human being is made up of many layers, and I would hope most people would agree on that, and that many layers of each contain many components, and meaning, and what I'm getting at, every single human being is complex. So I'm just trying to remind people that when you feel you dislike an individual, it's more than likely you're only actually disliking like a small part of their whole. That's all I wanted to say. You can add the rest. Goodness, but you've got to be something vital in there for something or purpose or what, anyway, just like don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing, huh? That's all I'm saying there. Let's see, now we're running right on down to what we call the non-gay news section. Yeah, non-gay news here. Let me see. Wisconsin election certification is on hold to probe irregularities in Waukesha County. I might not have said that right. Yeah, that's the case from our buddies over there at who was this? dailykos.com. Yeah, they got some voting irregularities over there in Wisconsin. So they're going to have to investigate it, because suddenly they came up with some votes, and it were not just votes that didn't make any difference, but that actually reversed what everybody thought, kind of votes, that put somebody over the top when they would have been the loser. So they're looking into it. Let's see, how many was it votes that they found? Goodness gracious, I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to look in the thing. I don't see it. I thought it mentioned like 700 initially, and then all of a sudden more, I think it was. But looks like they've updated the link or something here. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's what happens when you got week-old news sometimes, Yeah, you got too much going on. But I thought it was kind of interesting, that in this day and time, because you always see whispers and people talking about the machines and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just got to make you wonder sometimes, that after we saw what happened, when the Supreme Court made that decision for us not too long ago. I'll move on now. The Justice Department, let's see, I love these people. The Justice Department Civil Rights Division and the Department of Education Office for Civil Rights reached a settlement agreement with Independent School District number 761, and I'm going to guess it's pronounced Awatona, Minnesota. Yeah. Some kind of harassment problems. Here this is, we go again, with people getting bullied and harassed because they're like the other. It's all about the other. When we had the guest on from, what was it, nyln.org, and it's all about the other. They were a bunch of disabled youngsters running their own little disabled nonprofit organization, reaching out, and it was great people. And that's basically what she's saying. It's all about the other, because that's what we all become. There's them and us. Well, the problem is that most of the time the them is the minority. Instead of the majority, because the majority has more numbers. That's where we get this whole thing about, people should be voting on human rights and civil rights issues, they think this should be about the majority should rule, and it's a bully thing. It's just like the same thing you got going on in the high schools, and then we got politicians lying and cheating and stealing and saying, well, that's okay, that's just campaign trail rhetoric. It's just a mess, and these are the people that are ruling and controlling and supposed to be setting the highest examples, or not supposed to be, are setting the highest examples. And that's where the problem comes in, because when you got these high example people saying it's okay to lie, let's just compound the problem, huh? Anyway, where was I at? What's next? Got me on a ramble there. Oh, they had a list. Was it the list? Is this the list? They had an actual list where you could actually look at the $39 billion in national budget cuts. And let me see if this is that one. It was kind of like a spreadsheet looking thing. It was pretty interesting. Let's see, this thing. Oh, yeah, they got it down here. It's saying the 39. This one kind of summarized it. I don't think they got a link in it somewhere here, but it kind of summarizes the $39 billion with some of the things they're actually cutting. At $1.1 billion for HIV/AIDS, viral hepatitis, STD, and TB prevention. And the research department lost $277 million for researching infectious diseases. Yeah, they're even cutting back the WIC program. WIC. I couldn't believe they're cutting back WIC. $855 million. I remember we heard talk right after the tsunami happened, and they were talking about cutting the budget, for the tsunami warning system. Well, FEMA got into this now, and NOAA, operations, the ones that do the tsunami. Yeah, that's the ones. $115 million for them. Even National Pre-Disaster Mitigation Fund lost $50 million. Yeah, the cuts all across, but they don't. I don't see any. Are they cutting how much money the congressmen and House of Representatives are making? Come on, guys. If everyone else has to tighten their belt, how come you're just sitting up there acting like you didn't even hit a bump in the road? How come all the rest of us hit the bump and you didn't? How come you're immune? Here we go again. Well, I saw that word used when they had that parking ticket scandal, because House Congress and House of Representative people, they're not supposed to have to pay parking tickets if they're on official business, and they had all these parking tickets stacked up there. Yeah, and it hit the news. Are they immune to the law? Boy, all these parking tickets got paid after that. Isn't that amazing? Terrible storms in North Carolina. In the last and final piece from the non-gay news, storms ripped through North Carolina. When so soon after an incident like that, the numbers really vary on some of the reports. But I saw one that said there was at least 17 deaths. Destruction was enormous. Lots of pictures. You can find them all over the internet. Well, obviously, since we haven't had news for a couple of weeks, we get a whole lot of news from our hand-picked articles. Yeah, hand-picked articles on GayBlogHeadlines.com. Yeah, and I personally hand-pick these articles. And, of course, we start with the newest and we move back to the oldest. I don't know why I do it that way. I do a lot of things backwards. That's just me. Barney Frank's Playboy interview, where he said, anti-gay prejudice is on its way out. You know, for some reason I think about Barney Frank and I think about Playboy, and I have a really hard time not chuckling. But I keep forgetting. It's all about the articles. I don't know, but Playboy has a gay House of Representatives, man. Yeah, well, interesting. I think it's interesting. But yeah, they talked to him a little bit. Of course, you know, he's talking about that things are on the way out. Things are getting better. He says on marriage equality, he says he didn't see anything about gay marriage happening on the federal level. And he says more and more states will go that way. And when they do, people will see that there are no negative consequences. In other words, he's, you know, places that have gay marriage, he says, have none of the negative consequences that people are warned us about. See? Zero. Divorce rate hasn't gone up. There have been no calamities. Marriage hasn't lost its meaning. It's a divisive issue, and it's losing steam. Well, you go, Barney. That's good. Barney Frank. I don't know. You know, I'm sorry. You know, he's kind of a common sense guy. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? Hey, can you hear me now? Yeah, the Verizon guy that says that. Oh, goodness gracious. He came out of the closet. Evidently, he had to wait till his contracts were up, you know, because he didn't want to lose all that money or something. But the article says he's speaking publicly for the first time, and now that his contract is ending, he is discussing the pain he endured from becoming a celebrity and has revealed that he is gay. Yeah, I read somewhere that he was at his funeral of a relative. I don't remember which one. Rob and Cisco were telling me about it yesterday, and something about at the funeral service or something. Somebody said, "Can you hear me now?" I'm going, wow. I was blown away by that. Rob and Cisco told me that. Anyway, that's an interesting little thing. He says he's endured years of homophobic abuse from youths who drove by his Connecticut home screaming faggot, but was too afraid to contact police for fear of being exposed as the test man. In other words, the Verizon, can you hear me now, man? Yeah. Evidently, that's what he calls himself, the test man. Yeah. But he spoke with Atlantic Magazine. Check it out. You know, when I saw this next article, I got to admit, my first reaction is I just let out a gut-wrenching laugh. I did. I really did. And then my second thought that followed immediately thereafter was about Anita Bryant in Florida. Remember, because those of you who had seen Milk, and I believe it's also in The Times of Harvey Milk, which you can see on Queer Public Radio, and you can also see it on YouTube. That's all it is over on Queer Public Radio. I believe there's a link over to it on YouTube, but you can see it all on one page there. Yeah, you can just go to Queer Public Radio or YouTube and do a search for The Times of Harvey Milk. It's narrated by Harvey Firestein. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a precursor. Obviously, it was made earlier. Precursor to Milk, the more recent one, and but it covers a lot of the same things. But it covers some of the things that the movie Milk did not, like the riots and stuff. I mean, I think they have some original footage in there and stuff. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Lots of original footage, I think. Yeah. You see the police cars burning and lots of stuff going on there. I don't know. It could have all been made up. I'm kind of gullible that way sometimes. But anyway, so this anti-gay Catholic Archbishop got pelted with custard pies in his face. A Belgian Catholic Archbishop who said HIV is justice for gays. And all of a sudden, you know, There we go. It's getting custardized. It's actually a YouTube video that shows. I don't think they did it when he said those actual words, but there's a video on YouTube that shows him getting hit with a pie. He's in the walking. He's in a public venue or something, and they got him. You can see the custard all over his face. His spokesman. Actually, when he made those remarks, resigned. Yeah, and when he resigned, he said that Monsignor Leonard at times acts like a motorist driving on the wrong side of the freeway who thinks all the other motorists are wrong. Yeah. Anyway. I just couldn't think. I couldn't, the Anita Bryant thing when you're getting slapped in the face with the pie. I was thinking, oh, they got the Archbishop now. Well, that was pretty bad of him to say such a terrible thing. And that's coming from Archbishop in the Catholic Church. And of course, when he said that, there was no kind of, he didn't get any punish. No. The church not a peep. No problem. That's okay for him to say that. That's his opinion, huh? Yeah. The Isle of Man. Don't ask me where it is on the map or anything, but wow, I was kind of surprised. The Isle of Man. The gay couples can now adopt in the Isle of Man. Yeah, I was trying to look up more information because the opening paragraph says that gay couples can now adopt children in the Isle of Man following the implementation of the Civil Partnership Act. Yeah, the Civil Partnership Act. Yeah. Oh, there's Jay. Jay's in the chat room over on queerpublicradio.com. I heard that little click in there. Y'all probably heard it too. Hi, Jay. Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, I didn't watch the video. I think they hit him with 2 or 3 little. They almost look like those little pot pies, that kind of thing. But they hit him with a couple of them. It wasn't like the Anita Bryant got hit like with a big old, like an American pumpkin pie or something. That was a lot better. But I think it was just whipped cream. But anyway, whatever it was who knows? It might have been sour cream for all I know. That'd be an interesting fact to know. We might have to look that up. Thanks for being there, Jay. Wow, that's interesting. Well, I hope you caught the beginning of the show where I talked about you a little bit. Yeah, I'm talking to Jay in the chat room. Sometimes people accuse me of talking to other people in my, like I'm talking to people. Oh, no, boy, this guy's way out there, But no, that's not. Yeah, I hear you, Jay. I couldn't believe he said that. I mean, but he looks like he's not young. No, let's just to be nice, we'll just say he's not young. And I think, someone once told me, when I was years ago, in my younger years, I don't think we're ever going to get any respect or rights or anything until some of these old people die. I think there might be a little truth in that. Keep fighting us, tooth and nail every inch of the way, and then you got people saying stuff like that. And I think that hurts the good Catholics, too, No problem, Jay. Oh, I'm glad you heard me. Jay's cooking down there. Yummy, yummy. It's dinner time. It's over here on the Pacific Coast, which Jay is also in. It's 6:35 p.m. Yeah, so I want everybody to understand I usually eat around this time. So I'm giving up my dinner so I can be here. No, I actually eat before the show. I just eat early, that's all. I'm not going to put you on a guilt trip. Oh, Jay, and Jay, the person I'm talking to, Jay, is the gentleman that called in on our last Sunday show. Yeah. If you heard last Sunday's Sunday summary, which was the first Sunday summary we had, then you heard Jay call in. Yeah. And Jay's one of the good Catholics. Yeah, there's just like there's good Christians, there's good Catholics, there's, yeah, that's right. There's a difference. There's, don't let anyone tell you they're all the same. They're just like the rest of us. Yeah, a good gay Catholic. That's right. I'm going to get to a little article, Jay, here in a minute that you're going to like about a African American gay Jewish guy. That an interesting article that's coming up here. Yeah, I do believe. I hope it's supposed to be here. I remember putting it on the list. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool article. He had some really cool things to say. Let's see, where are we going to now? We're going down to a little bit of sad news, but on the brighter side of it, I guess a former Marine has been convicted of murdering a gay professor. Yeah, this was kind of an interesting story. Jay's giving me a hard time in the chat room, folks. Yeah, this came to us from Bloomington, Indiana. This was a weird story. An ex-Marine who admitted killing a gay Indiana University professor 2 days after they had sex has been convicted of murder. He tried to use like that gay panic thing, that the guy raped him. I guess it took advantage of him. Well, there was a panic. I think that gay panic thing, I think these are the guys that are having their own deep-rooted sexual insecurity. He stabbed him 22 times with a knife, with a 10-inch double-sided, or double-edged, I should say, blade. 22 times back in December of 2009. I've seen these stories. I've read about these stories and reported on them over and over, and it's just the violence. This person that has got some issues. Goodness gracious. Yeah, go ahead and eat, Jay. You go ahead and eat, but hurry, because I'll hold that story. You let me know when you're done eating. I'll hold that story and come back to it. I'm not there yet, though, so you're not holding me up. Yeah, and it's a long one. I got a lot to say on that one because it's the more of the story kind of thing. Yeah, it's an awesome piece. Yep. Okay, so we're done with the Marine. I guess, as far as I know, in the U.S., this was like the first gay pride parade of the year. Just happened in Miami. Yeah, can you believe that? Oh, hold on a second, folks. Boy, did I goof. Don't call in, Jay. You can't call in because I forgot to open up my call-in program. And it's going to make a noise. Skype is going to open up now and make a Skype noise, and I'm going to apologize for that in advance. Yeah, goodness gracious, I am so sorry I forgot to open that up. I hope no one's been trying to call. If they have, I deeply apologize because it wasn't working. It wasn't turned on. There, it's coming to life. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's embarrassing. I didn't even know I forgot to turn Skype on. I was late starting the show today, and I was rushed. Yeah, I know, that's an excuse, but it's the truth. Let me turn off the sounds one moment, please. Yeah, I went to play a sound clip, and I realized, hey, where's my button? Oh, no, I forgot to turn that stuff on. See, let's blame it on Jay. Yeah, it was that meal Jay's cooking. That's what it was. I could smell it all the way up here. Oh, my goodness. Uh-oh. Here comes Jay.
What's up?
What's going on?
What's with this Marine?
Oh, he's a sicko, man. He was 27. The other guy was like in his 50s, and he went back 2 days later and just mutilated the guy.
Well, the thing about it is that I look at the fact of the matter that we have people who go out and try to blame it on a panic attack, but he wasn't panicking while it was going on.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That says a lot right there.
Yeah, it's all good when it's, pardon the dog. I'm on the air.
You just made my dog look at this computer like, what is that?
Yeah, that's my beagle, Chewy one. He likes to get vocal quite often.
Well, Origin's sitting here like, who is that?
Well, his name's Chewy. Hey, Chewy, say hi.
Yeah. Well, nice to meet you, Chewy. But you know what I wanted to cover, the reason why I had to call in on this gay Marine issue, when I read that story a day or two ago, I was like, you know, when do men and some women get to the point that you have a right to say no, even if you're in an inebriated state? But if you have a problem with something that happened 2 days ago,
Yeah.
2 days ago, and 22 times stabbing someone, you've got issues.
Big time.
You know, I mean, because the end result of it is that I admit rape can be violent, and I'm not trying to take away from if he experienced that. But it took you 2 days. He's not the typical Marine.
Oh, that's for sure.
I will definitely share that with you.
If I remember what I read, he went to the guy's house. Of course, that's where he had, you know, they didn't go to a hotel room or anything. I mean, what did the guy do? You know, I mean, he says he raped him. I mean, he went to this gay guy's house, you know, and did the thing with him, you know, and then went back 2 days later. I mean, he knew where to find him, you know, and went back 2 days later and killed the guy. I mean, it just really stinks. This story just, his rape thing, it just doesn't. Why?
It doesn't hold water, Tom.
It doesn't at all.
It doesn't hold water. You know, the bottom line. I think let's take the Marine and put the bishop with him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on it. I'm sure it's, yeah, I'm sure it'll be in the news again.
I'm telling you. What other stories you got for us?
Did you eat yet?
Well, it's in the oven. I'm making a homemade pizza.
Oh.
So it's a pepperoni and chicken pizza tonight. So nothing spectacular, just a few leftovers, some pepperoni, some cheese, some tomato sauce, and made some dough, and that's what I'm having for dinner. Salad. That's dinner.
Hey, did you know this next article here, the one I read, it kind of surprised me because I didn't realize this, but when they did that, Judge Von Walker was hearing the Proposition 8 trial, and then, you know, he wanted, I'm sure you heard that he wanted to videotape the whole thing and make it available in other courthouses and on a YouTube channel, a government channel on YouTube. And the higher court said, no, you can't do that. So but he continued to videotape, and he said, well, I need it videotaped for my personal viewing, so when I get into my, you know, my decision-making process, you know, that I'll have the video to refer back to. And then he allowed the lawyers the opportunity to use parts of the, so obviously the lawyers got to see the video too, because he allowed them the opportunity to use parts or clips or whatever they wanted out of the video in their closing arguments. So now there's this whole big deal. Let's make the trial videos public. You know? And of course, the people that wanted to bring Prop 8 in other words, the anti-gay group, is, no, you can't do that. It was only supposed to be for Judge, you know, and that Judge Von Walker is now retired. And, it's just that there's a big whoop-de-doo going on about the video now. But of course, no one's seen it. But they're trying to get it made public.
I forget what justice that said sunshine is the best disinfectant.
Yeah, that's a good one. Therese Stewart, the assistant chief deputy city attorney, which we've all seen during the trial and everything for Prop 8, just kind of summed it up kind of nice. He said, the video just needs to be public, particularly in a civil trial of nationwide importance, that the public has the strongest constitutional interest in observing it. So, yeah, I thought that it should be. You know, they need to put those videos out there. Let everybody look at it.
At this point, it's for posterity and it's for history. We have a precedent here that the judge found in our favor, and at the very least, it should be opened up for all to see so that we can learn from it. But I think that that is a problem. That's a part of the problem. They don't want others to learn from it.
They're probably going to have to wait because the trial's still, you know, it's in appeal. It's still in appeal. So
yeah, we're waiting for the Supreme Court of California, which has said that it would take them a year.
Ridiculous.
To the question.
I got so mad that when the Superior Court sent it down to them, or the District Court, regional, whatever, sent it back to the Supreme Court in California to ask them to give them the ruling on standing, and then a month later, I'm like, oh, right, they got that a month ago, and they got an announcement coming up tomorrow. I got all excited, and the announcement was, well, we've decided we're going to go ahead and debate this issue on this ruling. I'm like, what?
What gets me is that if it were for straights, this would be a hurry up and get it done.
Uh-huh. We also got precedent as far as Massachusetts, I think, is 7 years? 6 years, something like that now.
7 years of gay marriage?
Yeah, total marriage equality in Massachusetts, and there's been no detrimental effects whatsoever. They've done studies that show that people that are partnered throughout life live longer.
Absolutely. It makes it easier. I mean, right now I'm single. That's how I am. But, when I've been in relationships, it's a little easier because you have somebody to work with you. You're not always eating alone, which also I think has a psychological effect. If you keep doing it year after year after year after year, you get old, you become fuddy-duddy and get set in your ways. But the bottom line is that longevity comes from the fact of the matter that we're communal as human beings.
Yep.
We're not meant to isolate.
The next story, it kind of talks about the Census Bureau gathering data from, same-sex couples and stuff this last time around, and they came up with a list of the 10 most largest cities as far as quote-unquote unmarried partners of the same sex in a household. And they had percentages, And guess which city was number one on the list? Maybe we should start at number 10. Have a 10 countdown? I don't know. Nah, what the hell? Number one's San Francisco with 1.36% of the total population is unmarried partners of same sex. Interesting.
That's a good statistic. I'd like to see it climb a little bit higher, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I said, gee, that doesn't seem like a big number to me. I was like 1.36%. You never know with statistics and numbers how they, but you got to
look at it at 1.36%. The total population of California, that ends up being several thousand people.
Oh, okay. There's where we're getting it. They're okay, of the whole state. I was thinking of the area, San Francisco, the city. But I mean, even if you just look at San Francisco, the population there of gays is per capita, it's a mecca. So you got to realize it may seem small, minuscule in that percentage, but then when you look at how many actual couples there are in San Francisco, that's still a good number. I mean, it's a showing. It's not. Right. At least it's 1%. We're growing. We're getting there. We just need a little bit more time. Now that I look at it a little closer, it's actually a metropolitan area of San Francisco, Oakland, and Fremont all together.
Okay. So that could be several thousand people, Tom. That's not just a little number.
That's a huge number.
Significant.
Yep. I was surprised, though, in this whole list, the top 10, I mean, New York didn't even make top 10.
New York didn't make top 10?
No, I was shocked when I saw that.
New York City?
Yeah. Yeah, not for married partners. San Francisco was first, and then Burlington and South Burlington, Vermont was second, because they legalized. I think it was Massachusetts and Vermont were like 1 year apart. They were like, boom, boom. And then,
weren't they the ones that did civil partnership?
Yeah,
Vermont first.
Vermont started with civil partnerships and then brought full marriage on. But I think they were the first to have civil unions, partnerships, whatever. And then I think Massachusetts came in with marriage, and then Vermont says, "Well, we got to have marriage too." And then they gave, So anyway, So, yeah, because Massachusetts, there's someplace I never heard of, Barnstable Town, or it looks like Barnstable, but I know it's not pronounced like that. But
Oh my gosh!
But and then Portland, Maine, which I was kind of surprised at that one.
Portland.
Yeah, Portland, South Portland, and Biddeford, Maine, little metroplex there. They were number 4. Number 5 on the list was Santa Rosa / Petaluma, California.
Where are they on the list?
Number 5.
Santa Rosa beats out New York City.
Yeah, and I was surprised at this one here. Portland in Oregon, and then Vancouver, Washington, and Beaverton, Oregon. That's kind of weird how they cross state lines for that one, but I guess they're that close. Was number 6.
Oh my gosh!
And here's the one that shocked me, because my parents were born in this city. Watsonville, California, and Santa Cruz, California, those combinations were number 7.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, Watsonville, California? That used to be a little redneck farming community, kind of little. I'm like, whoa. And then number 8 was Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And number 9 is where I'm at, Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue, Washington.
Okay.
And last on the list, number 10, Boston, Cambridge, and Quincy, Massachusetts / New Hampshire. Number 10.
Okay. I've missed something here.
Yeah.
New York's not on the list. DC's not on the list.
Right.
LA's not on the list. Throw that list out. I'd even settle for Miami.
I don't know. Was there some kind of thing on the? Some people were saying they weren't going to do the census because maybe they did. Just California had a thing going on over there, so, and New York too. Maybe a boycott of the census because they wouldn't count. They remember at first they were going to put gays. Where your sexuality, you could say whether you were homosexual or not. And then at first president said, yeah, we're going to do that. And then all of a sudden they said, oh, well, it's just too much work to get the paperwork done before in time, and blah, 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 whatever. So they blew us off. And we were going to say, I count, the census is going to count gays. I was like, oh, I like that, so.
That would be a good thing because finally we would have a true count of who we really are.
Well, not really. You're still going to have all the closet cases. I mean, that's, to me, you'll never get, as long as we're the pariah of the society, never going to get a 100% correct count because there are going to be too many closet cases.
When does the shame come off?
Yeah.
Excuse me for a second. Let me check this pizza.
Go check your pizza. I'm going to move on to UFA. What's UFA? No, that's not one of those things you use in the bathroom when you're taking a shower. That's a loofah or wafa or whatever. Anyway.
No, you can't bake a loofah.
UFA, the United American Families Act, has been reintroduced again.
Is this where we make our gay relatives outcast again? Is this another one of those bills?
No, UFA's for binationals, same-sex binationals, people who are in love with each other, but they come from 2 different countries, and the United States does not allow homosexuals to bring in their loved ones as they do heterosexuals.
That's true. I do know that's true. But, in California, if you make it to one of the safe harbor cities, which one of them is San Francisco, you can get asylum. But the problem is, again, if you're in a relationship, you face immigration. You have to get to San Francisco first.
Right, but I thought they would, you got to get in the country first. So
yeah.
Most places can't do that without a visa. So now with DOMA, with this whole thing going on with DOMA, their ticket, that gives them a much better chance. Just the fact that DOMA has been challenged in this way, and the president has made his statement saying they're not going to defend the Justice Department, and his office is not going to defend DOMA on these particular 2 cases that are questioning just the one section, which defines it as between a male and a female. But there's the other section of DOMA that is the one that says where the states don't have to recognize other states when they do give them same marriage equality. It's a mess.
It's a mess, and we still got work to do, Tom.
Yeah,
roll up your sleeves. Let's get busy. 2 men can take care of all the unwanted kids that are around. I've got 2 in my family that were abandoned, and as being a great uncle, I filled in as dad. So I guess that should mean that I should be without a partner, because you can take advantage of the fact that my money goes further, supposedly.
Yeah,
because it's one.
I've been making that argument. I did a special on adoption and stuff for way back when I discovered that Florida was the last remaining state that actually specifically stated homosexuals can't adopt. And so I did a study on it. I found out on average throughout every state in the United States, there's 1,000 children that are under foster care or under the state wards. And 1,000 kids per, that's 50,000 kids or so or more that need parents, and the parent pool that we currently have obviously can't take care of these children, so we need a larger parent pool. I'm like, hello, if we're supposed to be doing it for the kids, that sounds like the right direction. With this whole thing going on in California, with the they're screaming and yelling about this whole putting the homosexuals into the education school, making them, teach homosexuality is a good thing in the schools, and God forbid. I'm like, over and over and over again, the ridiculous things that you hear out of these arguments is just it's a slap in the face. It's rude, and some of the things these people say are just like the indoctrination thing, and and just the fact that they could say, they want to try to put and they said we heterosexuals aren't out there flying a flag saying we're heterosexual, and I'm like, yes, you are. Every time you say, so and so and their wife and 2 kids, you're flying a heterosexual flag.
When I was growing up and in school, and I was reading the Dick and Jane books, you always had Sally, Mother, Dick, Jane, Mom, and Dad.
Right.
But you never saw Uncle Tom. You never saw Uncle George.
Right.
They were family members that they kept. They were the uncles that you never heard from, So the end result of it is that, I think it's time that we put it in there, into the curriculum. Perhaps then we can stop people like the Marine, who goes around years later because he's had such twisted messages given to him that it requires him to snap and kill somebody.
Right.
Because you haven't had the exposure to people who are different from you. Mm-hmm. Because self-acceptance leads to acceptance of others for who they are, for what they are.
Right. Okay, let's move on to this next story here. Because this is a cool story about this guy he's black, he's gay, and he's Jewish. And being Jewish, he doesn't, they don't believe in Jesus as Jesus or as God's son, and they don't believe, of course, in the Pope or Easter or bacon or the New Testament for that matter.
That's right.
So, and Christmas, of course. So anyway, it's other things.
Hanukkah.
So they have, evidently during Easter, they have this little a Passover thing kind of thing, right? That they do, and this guy has researched it in history, and decided they got this I think I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, Pesach or Pesach is the word spelling, which is their service or whatever that they're going to have in place of Easter or whatever, and he's serving lamb, and he tells it to this other Jewish friend of his, and the Jewish friend says, "You can't serve."
Oh, the Seder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Seder plate that he's going to have the lamb bone on it, and he was saying in the Bible, they had the lamb bone, why can't we have lamb? They had lamb in the Bible. It shows them having lamb, and that's just, you can't, that's like the guy's trying to say that's not Jewish to have lamb, for that particular service, and he said, well, you're invited over to my house and we're going to be having lamb. And the guy refused to come. He said, no one in my family will be eating lamb for Pisach, or however it's pronounced. And the guy is his ending story here is the last few sentences in the last paragraph is where he says, "I'm going to be serving lamb at my seat or Seder table," or however it's pronounced. And he said that's the way it was in the Middle Eastern ways, and the hints of Southern American in there also. And he says it's most definitely Jewish. He says the fact of the matter is there are thousands of black Jews, Latino Jews, Asian Jews, and gay Jews too. We're all Jewish, and how we Jew is just as Jewish as how you Jew, even if it's different.
Well, I think they would have a hard time with a lot of the Jewish households when I was working on my PhD.
Uh-huh.
I used to do catering in people's homes and would go out and be a chef for them and different things like that. And I think they would be quite shocked because most of the Seders that I've ever done always have a lamb bone. And I've cooked more lamb than the law allows for Passover Seders because we're right in the middle of that season again. Right now, I think Passover started last week. But the thing about it is, for someone to say, "I'm not eating lamb with you," and to say that that's not Jewish, I don't know what Bible they're reading or what Torah they're reading. But, the last time I checked the scriptures in Exodus say that it was a young lamb or a goat. And when I've talked to rabbis about it, it's a young lamb and a goat. So therefore, where do they get that it's not Jewish? Yeah. I don't know what they're reading.
Really? Well, the guy actually he didn't tell the person he was talking to, but he said he's also going to have fish and different other meats also at the service. But anyway, he didn't tell the friend that. Obviously, the guy didn't show up because then that's what he learned for the whole thing. He knew where he stood with the guy. That this judgmental crap. This my way is the only way. Attitude and. And of course, he proved him wrong because this guy. They actually get into a conversation, and I didn't get into all of it. But yeah, he says, not to mention the angel of death passed over the homes of the Jews during the last plague because of the lamb's blood.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So they got in a pretty big argument about it, biblically speaking, evidently, and this gentleman put him in his place and did so very nicely. But I think it speaks to division. Here we got within their own community. These guys are arguing about, and I see that within the gay community. You see that it's this whole division thing, which is, it's not a positive force. And that's the point this article speaks so loudly to me, is that here this black, gay, Jewish gentleman is trying to come together, trying to invite everybody to his house, and they're judging him. And causing this division, putting a rift in between them, and I think that's people need to. That's not right. That's all I'm saying. Is that, how are we supposed to be one human family and show love and everything when we got to be so judgmental?
Tom, I can't live a good life without putting someone else down so I can feel better. That makes me so much more of a better human being than anybody else. If I can put you down and everybody else down, I'm much better than you are because I don't have that problem.
Right.
That's not the human condition. Because as long as one person is oppressed, we're all oppressed.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, even Martin Luther King said that, What affects one of us affects all of us, I believe. Something like that, he said.
It's amazing how ignorance just comes into people's lives so readily. Mm-hmm. So readily.
And it's like they're not even open for discussion about it.
Oh, no. To discuss it means that we have to actually use some form of intelligence to defend our position. Okay? So, if you want to have an intelligent discussion, then, we don't have anything to say to you, because we're not going to discuss it. So.
that just really sounds like the do as I say, not as I do.
Oh, you remember that too, huh? Oh my goodness.
Oh, in the next article, there was this pretty cool little opinion piece, and God, we're just these are kind of bunching up on us here. Kind of the title of it is "Incompatible: Religion and Morality." You know what he's putting forth is the synopsis here about how in order to maintain religion wants to have that kind of standing over you kind of thing too. In some cases, instead of standing next to you and with you, the judgmental side. In other words, the not good ones, the ones that still live by can a person or people be moral without the guiding force of religion? Still to today's day, believe there is no such thing as morality without religion.
Okay. I don't get that. I know I'm moral because I'm very active within my faith, but beyond that, in the years prior to me being so active in the faith, I didn't go out and do things that were morally deficient.
Right. Yeah, I think religion and morality, can go hand in hand, but I don't think it's a must-have. In other words, you could be moral without religion. An atheist, there's such thing as a moral atheist or a moral agnostic.
True. And then too, when you get into religion and morals, you've got to understand the history of religion and how religion has used morals to control the population.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fear thing.
So we have to look at this because, history repeats itself. There's nothing new that comes around that hasn't been here before.
Yeah, as long as we've been here. Boy, ain't that true.
So when we see this being repackaged and sent to us and telling us about religion and morality, it's like the folks at Liberty University.
Yeah.
Would you them telling you about religion and morality? Because I know their religion and morality certainly doesn't speak for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the end result of it is that we have to be very careful about that because it can be used as a control mechanism to make you feel less than who you really are. But the thing is that we also have to, stay conscious within our own community, and that's why your show is so important.
I try to throw it out there without being too judgmental, but sometimes I just can't help but jump up on the podium. Let's talk about the good Christians a little bit. Out of Minnesota, awesome story. I got to give these people some applause. These people are awesome. They have this Christian summer camp for gay teens. No judgments on sexuality, no conversion therapy, a haven of acceptance. Oh, near a Bay Lake near Deerwood, Minnesota. I was like, yeah, it's about time.
Tom, I'm going to have to try to get my best friend to come to talk to you one evening because he's a bishop in a gay movement church, a gay affirming church. And I believe the church has maybe 19 different churches. So it's pretty big. And the thing is that when we look at it, in fact, it was through his ministry that I eventually came back to the Catholic Church because I figured out that what made me leave the gay affirming church to get back into the Catholic Church was that I ended up realizing that there were others in the church that were probably still dealing with the same issues. So what I made the decision to do was to take the liberation theology back to the very place that was teaching the oppression and try to make a difference one life at a time.
It's very brave of you. Well, the Catholics do have that Dignity organization that's LGBT kind of sort of related, isn't it?
Well, depending on who you talk to, they're not a part of the church.
Oh.
And then here, particularly in the archdiocese that I'm in LA County, it's the largest in the nation, they have a gay and lesbian ministry that is officially church sanctioned. They advocate for marriage. They advocate for the entirety of the person, the full implementation of the person with including acceptance of the relationship. So So, things are evolving. Things do evolve. I mean, Dignity is a very good organization. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Dignity, but oftentimes, depending on the archdiocese that you're in, they're not officially recognized as a part of the church.
Yet they don't. I don't think they. I talked to a person that was there was a Catholic church not too far from the gay bar I worked at. Less than 2 miles away, and a person from Dignity came in the bar, and I was talking with the lady one time about it and stuff, and she says, "Well, she says we meet in the Catholic church over here," and that's. She didn't ever say she was Catholic. They let us meet in the Catholic church over here. That's all she would admit to.
Here in the city of Long Beach, one of the churches here, St. Matthew's, has an organization called Comunidad. And Comunidad has been really instrumental in helping to tear away a lot of the trials that the youth go through. That there's a presence in the church that says, we love you just as you are. And I can tell you, the very first time I went to St. Matthew's, one of the women came up to me and she's like, oh, yes, I go to this church. I've been here for a number of years, and I love her to death. I don't do anything without her. And once I saw that made me feel right at home, because it was my first visit to the church, and here was somebody of my community coming up openly, telling me about her relationship within the church. And to make it even better, very active in the ministry of that church. That's not my personal church per se, but the end result of it is that I have friends that go there. I just go to a different parish, but the end result of it is the reason why I don't go to that particular church again is the mission that I feel that we all have, each one teach one. So if I come to St. Matthew's, who's going to be at my church to say, hey, I'm the gay person here and it's okay? I deal with a lot of Hispanic families, and there's a lot of machoism that goes on. There's a lot of, they throw the children out on the streets and different things like that. So what my role is as a catechist there, and this is how I see it, to let them know that there's someone here you can talk to, because oftentimes there's never anybody around, or we have to send you over to St. Matthew's in the same city. But if we have people that are there that are trained, and then by me staying in my parish, what I ended up finding out was the woman that I teach with was a P-flag mom.
Cool. So
that there's not just one now, there are two. So that makes it a little bit better, and it makes it, as we go along. The priest was telling me of the parish when I first got there. I said, we need a gay ministry here. He says, well, we have to have a demonstrated need for it. Well, in my teaching now, because of what I have been able to do, and because I require the students to journal as a part of the religious education training that I give, I find out that we do have gays, and that's how I get back to them. And that's why I was able to then come back to the priest and say, I think we really need this here. So this year, I'm glad to say, we actually got it done. We had a class for the whole confirmation class, which we have 104 this year.
Wow.
Which is kind of nice. The fact of the matter that we actually brought this forward for discussion for the whole community, for these kids that are anywhere from 12 to 17.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have to look at the fact of the matter. Are we going to let morality be defined for us? Or do we go out and teach what morality is through love, by going out and letting them know it's okay to be gay. It's okay to be different. And God's not going to send you to hell for being a gay person, because you have a gift that God has given you to love a person of the same sex. And as far as that's concerned, love, no matter where it comes from, I don't care who gives it to you, it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
You can't earn love. You can't go out and demand love. It's a gift, and it's freely given when it is given.
And did you hear the story about in London how they had two guys that got thrown out of a bar there in SOHO in a pub for kissing, and then
What?
yeah, like 3 days later, just the other day, they staged. They were going to have a kiss in there. 800 people were going to come have a kiss. They closed the bar. They wouldn't let anybody. They threw everybody out and closed the bar down because they didn't want to have the kiss inside the bar. And they said they were going to have it outside, but then I haven't heard no more about it. That was a pretty recent story. So,
this was in London?
Yeah.
Now wait a minute. This is, well, I shouldn't be surprised, but the thing is that, when I think of London, this cosmopolitan city,
Mm-hmm.
that you would have somebody, and especially out of England, as forward as they are, to tell two men that you can't kiss. What harm is a kiss?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Well, evidently, the bartender asked them to calm it down. Evidently, they were kissing pretty hot and heavy. And, yeah.
Oh, get a room type thing?
Yeah. Yeah, get a room type thing. And they just kept carrying it on, evidently. So they were thrown out.
Well, some of those kisses do get good now, so.
Yep, they can get a little carried away, that's for sure.
I have no problem with it as long as they keep their clothes on.
Yeah, that's what when they start doing the clawing and all that kind of stuff, that's a bit much. But if it's just two people kissing, I don't care if they're swapping tongue or whatever. If they're having a nice long kiss, but if they're crawling all over or something, yeah, I don't think that was the case. I think it was just a kiss, but it was a long kiss. Like, one article I saw said it was a first date. So I kind of doubt that if it was a lengthy kiss, but who knows. Anyway, they complained about it, and the barman told them to mellow out, and they didn't and got thrown out. And then a couple of days later, there was this huge kiss-in that was going to be organized, and the people that owned the bar closed it to keep the kiss-in from happening.
I'm going to that bar, Tom. I need the name of that bar. And when I get to London, I'm headed directly to that bar.
Oh, let me see. John Snow is the name of the bar.
John Snow?
Yep, John Snow. It's like a man's name.
In SOHO.
In SOHO, in London, yep.
Got it. It's on my to-do list.
When are you going? One of these days, huh? You're gonna have it. You already got the list started, though.
I already got the list started. Right after the visit to Covent Gardens, I'm off to SOHO.
How many cities do you have lists for from vacations that you might take in the future?
Well, actually, London is a school town of mine.
Oh.
It wasn't really a vacation, so my times in London have usually been spent there for school purposes.
I see.
And if I've been to London now maybe about 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I go, it's usually like a 2-week period or something like that. I've never had really enough time that I could just relax and stay and enjoy and see, because there's so much to do and see when you get over there. But when you're focused on business or school or different things like that, of course, that has the priority.
Right. Okay, well, we had a little bit of technical difficulty towards the end of that show, thanks to my harebrainedness. Yeah, goodness, stuff happens. Oh, we want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody for spending a little bit of time with us on this Sunday summary show. We had Jay join us, and always fun to hear from him. We always like hearing from all of our listeners, and thank you for participating. And we'll be back on our Hump Day Coffee Show this coming Wednesday, every Wednesday, in fact, at noon Eastern Time and 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And we'll see you then. Please remember, we're all one human family. We ask that you please try to love your brothers and your sisters.
I love you, and you, and you. Oh, and you too. And don't forget him. I love her, and him, and her, and him, and him, and her. I love you all.
Adios. Have a nice trip. Bon voyage. Farewell to thee.
leave the light on for you.